Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I have a feeling this isn't going to be a popular opinion. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Geeks and Company. My name's JS, and today I want to talk about Wakanda Forever. I finally got a chance to watch it. Before we do get into that, though, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you click that subscribe button. It really, really helps us out. It helps the channel grow. Clicking that like button really helps as well. Luckily, both are completely free. Now, if you click the notification bell, it'll make sure you never miss any time we make a new upload. Now, if you haven't checked out our weekly podcast, make sure you check us out every Thursday, live right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also watch us after the fact. You can also listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. Check us out. There's a lot of good stuff there. Now, I want to quickly talk about Wakanda Forever. We're putting this new segment together that we're calling Geek Rants. And I feel like this is one that I've been wanting to rant about. I've been trying to collect my thoughts over the last couple of days about what I thought of this movie. And I want to start by saying that overall, I thought the movie was okay. Like, it wasn't horrible. Also, it wasn't very good. I got a couple notes here, and actually, maybe I should, have my notes ready with me and ready to go. First of all, I want to talk quickly about the beginning of the movie. First act of the movie is basically one long tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Now, for those of you that haven't seen the movie, I might be spoiling some stuff here, so, maybe you don't want to watch, but obviously Chadwick Boseman has passed away. They've had to figure out how they were going to move forward with the Black Panther franchise. But the first half actually is a really good tribute to Chadwick Boseman himself, because they treat it as, Chadwick Boseman, the actor, has passed away, but in the movie, King T'Challa passes away. So everybody's mourning. It's actually quite an emotional scene. Angela Bassett. I love Angela Bassett. She's amazing. She makes an amazing speech in this initial scene at the beginning of the movie. It was quite touching how they set that up. Frankly, after seeing the opening of the movie, I was really hyped. I was like, okay, this is amazing. This is going to be a fantastic movie. That's until the rest of the movie came along, and then I was like, oh, this is boring. But, we'll get back to that towards the end a little bit, because I want to talk about some of the things that I really enjoyed out of this movie to start with. So Angela Bassett, she was amazing. She was great. Letitia Wright. Guys, I've not seen Letitia Wright in anything else. She's amazing. She goes through this character arc in this movie where her scientific, I guess, side clashes with the whole, I guess, religious side of Black Panther, and how they go, when they become the Black Panther, they go to the other plane and they see, the dead kings of old and so on and so forth. So there's a real, I don't even know how to explain it. There's a real dilemma there within the character, and it's very, very well portrayed. Letitia Wright was amazing in this. I know she had some issues during the filming of the movie, but let me tell you something. Her performance, along with Angela Bassett's, were amazing. Another thing I really, really liked was the portrayal of Namor, or however you want to call him. I feel like there's a million different ways. Nobody really knows how to pronounce the name. Doesn't really matter. I like that they kind of stuck to his origin story, in the sense that in the comics, which actually Namor predates Marvel Comics, if you didn't know. He was created by another organization before it was even Marvel Comics. Namor was created as a villain, right? He was against humans. He wanted, like in the movie, he wanted to kill the humans. He wanted to protect his kingdom, which, by the way, in the comics is Atlantis. I know they don't call it Atlantis in the movie. I don't understand, and I have a feeling it has to do with DC. We're not going to get into that. In the comics, it is Atlantis. Namor, the submariner, is the king of Atlantis. So he wants to protect Atlantis and his people. And they kind of take that similar arc in Black Panther, where they make Namor the villain. My real issue is that he was the villain throughout. In Namor's original story, he becomes the hero. So in this movie, the Americans decide that they need another source of vibranium because the Wakandans aren't going to share the vibranium. Now, in previous Marvel movies, there was an agreement made that Wakanda was going to be more involved. They were going to share the vibranium with people. They were going to help out. They've completely gone against that now. They don't want to share the vibranium. They don't want to help. There's actually this whole scene where the Queen goes to the UN and takes a strip out of the French and the Americans. So the Americans decide that they're going to go looking for vibranium themselves. They create this vibranium detection machine, which obviously detects vibranium in the Atlantic Ocean, where Atlantis is. This vibranium machine was created by Riri Williams, this 19-year-old university student. If you don't know who Riri Williams is, in the comic books, Riri Williams became what is now known as Ironheart. I am not a big fan of the Riri Williams comic books. She's a ripoff of Iron Man. All they did was make Iron Man into a black woman, and she's younger and smarter and faster and just all the way better than Iron Man. You know what I mean? So whatever. Namor wants to kill Riri because she created the machine, but the machine's already been created. What would killing her do? So I didn't understand what they did there with Namor in the sense that they made him a true villain, which is not Namor. But I like how he plays Namor. I like the actor. I like that they tried to use his backstory as much as possible. I love the visuals. The suit, the headdress. I mean, it looked... The whole Atlantis side of thing, Namor and his people looked fantastic. That's about the end of what I liked. After that, it's all downhill from there. I want to start first of all with the music. I heard a lot of people comment about how they liked the music in this movie, and to me, the music was really anticlimactic. The music didn't seem to fit at all. For the most part, the music was completely off, kept pulling me out of the movie. A couple times sitting there watching the movie, I turned around to producer Jen to say, man, this music sucks. Like, why is this? Like, what's going on with this music here? Like, I just couldn't understand what the deal was, why everybody loved the music so much when it was clearly so bad and so out of place in this movie. Riri. What a waste of a character. This movie was 3 hours long, folks. And there was a bunch of side characters that shouldn't have been there. And Riri was one of them. So this was the way for Marvel to introduce the character of Riri Williams, who's getting her own Disney Plus TV series called Ironheart. So I get that they wanted to introduce her. Bringing her into this story made no sense. The character sucks. The actress was, okay. But the way that they portrayed the character in the movie was completely unnecessary. They didn't need to have the character there at all. Now, let's not even talk about let's talk about the suit quickly, because her suit, holy cow. It looked like it was right out of a friggin' Power Rangers episode. Right out of like those Japanese 80s and 90s superhero. It was so bad. It made me cringe. I felt bad sitting there watching this movie and seeing all these new suits that they're putting together. Riri's suit and the suit that Okoye wears and the other suit. And then I'm like, the frick is going on here? Like, why are they bringing in? Listen, I understand if you want to bring in a bunch of armored suits to gear towards the new Armor Wars, TV series that's going to be coming out. But for crying out loud, how do you go from Iron Man and War Machine 15 years ago to these crappy looking suits that we have now? I feel like the CGI has a lot to do with it, because let me tell you something. The CGI in this movie was even worse than the CGI in the first Black Panther. Like, I don't understand how the MCU goes from making one movie, let's say Infinity War, that looks so fantastic, and then another movie like Wakanda Forever where the CGI looks so dumb, looks so out of place. Or let's just take it to the extreme here, the She-Hulk CGI, which also looked very out of place. Now, I don't want to compare the CGI from a TV show to the CGI from a big budget blockbuster movie. And let's be honest, it made, I think, almost $2 billion. I think it might have even surpassed $2 billion by now. So I'm not trying to compare the CGI of a TV show to the CGI in a movie. But holy cow, like, how is Marvel so all over the place with their CGI? I do not understand it. This movie, listen, the CGI took me right out of the movie. But the one thing that really, really, really got me was the story. The story was just dumb. Like, it was out of place. It was dumb. Things happened that made no sense. You know, the Queen doesn't want to help the UN, but she'll die protecting a girl that she's known for all of 5 minutes. What? Like, listen, the story was all over the place. I'll give you another example. They bring Martin Freeman back in this movie. Again, had no need to be in this movie at all. But they bring Martin Freeman back in this movie because at one point in the movie, they need to find Riri Williams, right? Like, they know that Namor is after Riri. So, you know, Shuri and Okoye, they need to go and find Martin Freeman, who's a CIA agent, who's going to tell them where Riri is. And of course, the minute they find him, he just spills the beans and tells them everything. And it's like, wait a second, what the fuck? You're a CIA agent. Why are you telling another nation all these secrets? Like, what's going on here? How the fuck do you even become a CIA agent if you can't keep a secret like that? That's the first thing. But the how they approach Martin Freeman was even dumber with this bug drone thing. And he's like, oh, there's a mosquito. What's going on? And then, oh, wait, that's not a mosquito. That's a drone. And then the drone drags him in the middle of the forest. Meanwhile, he's actually running in the middle of the forest, right? It's not like he's in public. He's in the middle of fucking nowhere. And then he's got this little drone that's trying to get his attention that drags him further into the forest to then have Shuri and Okoye standing there waiting for him. And it's like, well, dude, like, that's just another 5 minutes of fucking nonsense that we didn't need in this movie. Like, why did you need to include that scene in there? Couldn't you just been there in the fucking path? If you knew he was going to be there, why not just wait for him and have him run up on you? Like, there were so many little things in this movie that took me out of the story. So many little things that made no sense. So many little things that just dragged this movie on. This should have been a 2-hour movie. It's too long. Way too long. There's too many breaks in the story. I say the story very loosely because, again, the story was shit. The only really good part of the story was the acting. The characters are amazing for the most part. The acting is amazing. And the tribute at the beginning of the movie where they really, really get you. Now, I'm going to spoil a little something here. Again, for those that haven't seen the movie, there is a cameo in this movie. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Killmonger is back in this movie. Now, you're probably going to say, well, what do you mean? Killmonger's dead. How can he be back in this movie? Well, when Shuri takes the heart-shaped herb, which she fucking 3D prints, okay? It's gone. The heart-shaped herb is gone. And she finds a way to 3D print a freaking heart-shaped herb that works. And instead of seeing her brother or her father or her mother, for that matter, previous kings or queens of Wakanda, she sees Killmonger. Now, I got to say, I didn't really like the character of Killmonger in the first Black Panther. I'm not the biggest fan of Michael B. Jordan. He's done some stuff that's good, some stuff that's bad. I felt his performance in Black Panther was somewhere in the middle. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. You know, it didn't make me want to hate the character. It didn't make me want to like the character. You know, I feel like most of the Marvel villains, especially in the MCU, are quite forgettable, to be honest. Killmonger was just another one of those forgettable villains for me. But his cameo in this was fantastic because it fit really well, with the character, but really well with the theme of the story. And the ideological struggle Shuri is having at that point. Again, you got to remember, Shuri's a scientist, but everything that's happening to her is very much supernatural. It's very much religious. And there's a real struggle within her to come to terms with those two things. And that really plays so well with that. But again, beyond that, for me, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, it was okay. Action sequences were fine. The visuals, for the most part, were, just as good as the first movie. CGI was just as bad, if not worse, than the first movie. So, again, it's one of those things where it was okay, but I could have completely not watched this movie and it would have been completely fine. Has no relevance with anything else coming from Marvel. Phase 5 so far for me has been a bust. Maybe that's going to be my next rant, because Phase 5, there's only been one good movie for me in Phase 5, and that was No Way Home. Everything else was just meh. Even Doctor Strange was okay. It was good. It wasn't great. It was okay. So I feel like it's the theme of Phase 5 is it's okay, but when are we going to get to the good stuff again? And maybe we're oversaturated. Maybe we're done. Maybe people are done. Maybe there's too much now. Maybe the whole superhero thing has now passed us. Now they're just using all these other stories and creating stories that nobody's really interested in anymore. I don't know. This movie made money, that's for sure. There was no doubt it was going to make money. But for me, Black Panther 2, I probably want to give it a 2.5, at most 3 out of 5 stars. Not my jam. I really didn't enjoy the movie. By the end of the movie, I was like, oh my God, this is finally over. So what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy the movie? Did you think it was great? Leave the comments below. Let me know what you thought. But that'll be it for this time, everybody. Thanks for watching. Stay geeky. We'll see you next time.